We're getting Lego Batman pretty shortly, which I think everyone's like, it's Lego Batman. It's silly. It's got a bunch of famous people doing funny voices in, and it's about toys. So like, it probably not high expectations, but also like, it's going to be fun. It doesn't take itself too seriously.
Yeah.
What we probably didn't anticipate is so far, this is the most critically well-received Batman movie ever.
Yeah. What?
Yeah. Let's do a quick rundown of how the rest of the Batman series has been reviewed according to Rotten Tomatoes. This is, of course, Rotten Tomatoes, not a movie review site. That is an aggregate. It is a bunch of different critics from all over.
Not one
kind
man.
Of average. Yeah,
not one man.
I know you're mad about how Rotten Tomatoes scored, BVS. But anyway, so let's start with Batman, the first one, the original Tim Burton one. That was received okay, got a 72%.
Really?
Yeah, which is pretty high. But again, at that point, there was like Superman movies, and most of those were bad. So.
There also wasn't a Rotten Tomatoes, so a lot of this is sort of retroactive. This is pulling up old reviews.
Yep. And then Batman Returns was an 80%. That's actually my favorite Batman movie.
Me too. I totally agree with these so far.
A lot of people forget about Mask of the Phantasm. That was the animated series movie that was released in 1993.
I really like that one.
82%. That was received very well. I feel like that might have gotten a different type of critic because Batman Returns was live action, and there are probably a bunch of people who were like, I'm not going to see a children's movie. This animated, I will not watch it. And then, of course, we start to get to the bad Batman movies. Batman Forever sitting at 40%.
Oof.
Yeah, which is a huge drop from, it's like half as good as the last one or whatever. Get that lower third out of here. We're trying to read what the next movie title is called. Thank you.
He's coming back!
Hey, and then Batman and Robin.
Oh my God, man.
Yeah.
I don't think I realized.
People really hated that.
Didn't you and I, did we watch this one recently?
Yeah, so the weird thing about those movies is I think they were made to be campy. Like they were basically big budget versions of the Adam West Show, but people didn't really get that. So you watch those movies and you're like, Uma Thurman, what's wrong with you? Why are you sounding like that?
Right.
But like, it's kind of funny now. Like they're wonderfully bad movies. Like you've got Schwarzenegger coming in and making bad ice puns. Like that's really fun, but especially after kind of better Batman movies, I think people just thought it was just a series going off the rails.
So that literally, that's like rock bottom there. That is the lowest 11% it could possibly get.
Pretty bad.
And then enter Christopher Nolan.
Yeah, and obviously Joel Schumacher had other sequels planned, but Batman and Robin not only was a critical bomb, it also just didn't do well at the movies. So it was a minute before we got Batman Begins. It was almost a decade. Batman Begins, refreshing change of pace, 84%, and this should surprise no one. Dark Knight is 94% because that movie is amazing. And then there's, Dark Knight Rises, which is divisive, kind of a step backwards. I still like it, but 87%. And then, much to the chagrin of, some of our commenters, Batman v Superman was 27%. And that brings us to this year. The Lego Batman movie is at 97%.
Wow.
So yeah.
Wow.
Obviously, it might change. It might have changed by now already because reviews are still trickling in.
Yeah, I can see that going down a little bit. But then you look at the reviews for the Lego movie, and they were tremendous as well. So I think there's just good teams working on these things. It's interesting to see something like BVS, which sits between Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. And also sort of just this weird range in which the same exact character has been reinterpreted so many different ways. Seeing like the more serious tone that Batman Begins and The Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises took, you'd be like, that's the way to go forever, right? Well, not really, because BVS, which wasn't as, which was also serious, kind of missed the mark a little bit. And then you're like, maybe the funny way is the way to go, because Lego Batman is really goofy and ridiculous, but not really, because Batman and Robin and Batman Forever weren't well received. So I think it's finding that kind of interesting mix of both. And I'm incredibly excited for the Lego Batman movie now. I went from being like, oh yeah, I'm kind of on the fence about this, and I'll watch it on an airplane.
But now watch, maybe we'll go in and be totally disappointed because high expectations only lead to disappointment. That's true. If you go in not even knowing what you're doing there, then maybe you'll have a good time. Who knows?